Austin gazed into the mirror, his eyes filled with excitement. It marked the auspicious day of his first outing to a restaurant with his beloved girlfriend. He'd dedicated considerable time to prepare for this moment, and today, he'd made a firm decision. Austin's mother, a slender woman whose hands bore the traces of hard labor, observed her son with unwavering enthusiasm. Once more, she couldn't help but notice the striking resemblance between him and his late father, a man who had departed this world far too early. This stirred bittersweet memories within her, filling her heart with both pain and longing. Yet, she also recognized the happiness she'd found in their marital bond. While her husband's life had been tragically cut short due to wartime injuries, she had cherished the moments they had shared. One silver lining was that she had raised a remarkable son, a dedicated student. As Austin's mother continued to reminisce about his father, her words washed over him, but he struggled to truly hear her. His thoughts were consumed by his own aspirations. He had made a promise to himself that, once he graduated and became a cardiologist, he would significantly improve his mother's life. Lost in his own contemplations, Austin only vaguely registered his mother's words. Today, 2 months after meeting her, he had finally resolved to take his relationship with his girlfriend to a deeper and more meaningful level. However, there was one overwhelming source of shame gnawing at him whenever he was around her, the profound deception he had perpetuated from their very first encounter. Right from the start, he had masqueraded as a wealthy young man, when, in reality, he was far from it. Eleanor hailed from a privileged family, her father owned a prestigious medical center, and her mother's and her own needs were effortlessly met. They had the means to indulge in charitable work and volunteerism, which is how their paths had crossed. On that particular evening, Eleanor had lingered late at an animal shelter. Her presence there wasn't solely motivated by her compassion for underprivileged dogs. Instead, it was an opportunity to secure a coveted spot on the cover of an esteemed high society magazine. Thus, she had endured an hour's struggle, battled her own aversion while attempted to untangle the matted and dirty hair of a stray dog, all while gazing flirtatiously into the photographer's lens. Back then, Austin remained blissfully unaware of these intricate details. It was an evening when his friend Cole had requested him to pick up his lavish sports car from the service center. Austin complied, driving past the animal shelter just as Eleanor emerged. Unwilling to soil the interior of her pristine new coupe, a gift from her father, so she hailed a cab. The sun was setting, casting long shadows, and out of nowhere, a disheveled, inebriated man clad in tattered sweatpants emerged from around the corner, intruding upon Eleanor's peace. "Hey there, lovely. How about spending the evening with a real man?" he slurred, revealing a toothless grin. A wave of horror swept over Eleanor, prompting her to take a few hurried steps backward. Sensing his unwelcome advances, the man's demeanor shifted abruptly, bitterness overshadowing his grin as he forcibly grabbed Eleanor's elbow. "Don't be scared. Let's get acquainted," he hissed menacingly, muffling her protests by clamping a hand over her mouth and pulling her toward a nearby underpass. "No. Let go." Eleanor screamed, her attempts to break free proving futile in the uneven struggle. As she braced herself for the worst, the man's grip suddenly slackened, and he tumbled into a puddle with an unceremonious somersault. Startled, Eleanor looked up to find a young man offering her a reassuring smile. "Are you okay? Pretty girls like you shouldn't be out in this neighborhood at this hour," he remarked softly. His name was Austin, and he extended a kind offer to drive Eleanor safely home. Fear coursed through her veins, but the thought of remaining alone in this unsettling situation with the insolent man, now writhing in the mud and hurling curses, left her with no choice. She nodded gratefully and accepted Austin's offer. Moreover, Austin's sleek sports car exuded an air of confidence that instantly put Eleanor at ease, prompting her to follow her unexpected savior. During their journey, conversation flowed effortlessly, revealing numerous shared interests and common ground. They decided to make a pit stop at the Key, where they engaged in lively conversation, their laughter filling the night air. The moon bathed their path in gentle light, and the stars above seemed to burn brighter in the presence of their connection. In a serendipitous moment, one of them stumbled, prompting both to silently make a wish upon the celestial canvas above. Their wishes remained unspoken, a secret pact sealed in the night. However, when Austin eventually brought Eleanor to her opulent home, he couldn't conceal his disappointment. He knew he paled in comparison to her affluent lifestyle. Yet, the depth of his affection prevented him from revealing the truth. From that day onward, Austin's web of deception began to spin. He fabricated a narrative in which his father had left him and his mother a substantial inheritance, assuring Eleanor that he would secure a lucrative job upon graduating from medical school. Eleanor felt content, not because she held any special romantic feelings for him, but because he possessed what she valued most. Money had never been a focus for Austin in his relationship with Eleanor. He had showered her with elegant bouquets, with the understanding that he would eventually reveal his true circumstances. However, the day before their planned restaurant outing, an unforeseen disaster struck, unbeknownst to Austin. For the past month, he had been persistently borrowing his friend Cole's car, despite Cole's persistent warnings that it could lead to trouble. Nonetheless, Austin clung to the hope that Eleanor would forgive his minor deceit in the name of their love. He believed that if he hadn't been behind the wheel that day, their paths might never have crossed. Just moments ago, Eleanor received a call from her friend Savannah, who dropped a bombshell. Austin was nothing more than a struggling student, raised without a father, while his mother toiled away in a factory day in and day out. Savannah possessed this knowledge because she had attended the same university as Austin and had once spotted Eleanor with him in the park. Upon hearing this revelation, Eleanor felt as though the ground had been pulled out from under her. She sank down, her mind racing with the memory of her tender moments with Austin, now tainted with a sense of revulsion. After contemplating her options for a while, she resolved to exact revenge upon him. Austin arrived at her doorstep, clutching a bouquet of flowers and a small box containing a delicate gold ring. As he beheld his girlfriend's visage contorted in anger, his own complexion drained of color. Eleanor's voice dripped with sarcasm as she quipped, "So, where's your fancy car?" In response, Austin mustered the courage to lay bare the unvarnished truth, issued a heartfelt apology, and then, dropping to one knee, presented Eleanor with the ring, asking for her hand in marriage. Eleanor burst into laughter, deriding him as a poor fool and hurling a slew of cutting remarks his way. Snatching the bouquet from his hands, she delivered a resounding slap to Austin's face, sending the box containing the ring careening into the street. Several months elapsed since that fateful night, and although Austin's anguish had somewhat abated, he remained resolute in his pursuit of medical studies. Graduation loomed on the horizon, and he was poised to commence his residency in the cardiothoracic department of the city's premier hospital. He wholeheartedly devoted himself to his work, diligently absorbing wisdom from seasoned colleagues. Then, one day, towards the culmination of his internship, an elderly woman was rushed into the hospital in a dire condition. It happened to be a weekend, and none of the senior doctors were available. Austin, standing at the precipice of a defining moment, embarked on his maiden voyage into a complex surgery, determined to save a life. Austin couldn't have been happier about saving the woman's life, though he regarded it as his duty. Time marched on, ushering in several more years of relentless dedication. During this period, Austin evolved into a seasoned doctor, held in high esteem by the hospital's administration, and rewarded with a comfortable salary. He continued to rescue lives, and amid these endeavors, the memory of his failed engagement gradually faded into the past. In the course of his journey, Austin encountered a wonderful woman named Reagan, who happened to be a nurse. Authentic and profound emotions blossomed between them, propelling their relationship forward. The young couple embarked on the joyful path of preparing for their impending wedding. Meanwhile, Eleanor's life underwent a seismic shift. Her father faced imprisonment due to a significant pharmaceutical fraud, leading to the liquidation of their assets to settle debts. Forced to relinquish their opulent lifestyle, Eleanor and her mother relocated to a rented apartment, faced with the daunting task of rebuilding their lives from scratch. One fateful day, after yet another fruitless job interview, Eleanor stood at a bus stop, awaiting public transportation. Out of the blue, a luxurious sports car pulled up, and to her astonishment, Austin sat behind the wheel. For a fleeting moment, Eleanor was left utterly speechless. With a warm smile, Austin extended an offer to drive her home, which Eleanor accepted, partly to avoid the bus crowded with fellow commuters and partly out of curiosity about Austin's life. "How have you been, Austin? I suppose you've heard about our family's misfortune. Life can be so unjust. By the way, have you borrowed your friend's car again?" Eleanor inquired with a hint of arrogance. Austin responded calmly, "No, I actually bought this car myself. I'm doing quite well. I work as a heart surgeon now. There's a substantial wait list for my surgeries. I also heard about your father's situation. I'm truly sorry for your family." As Eleanor grasped that Austin now possessed financial stability, a glimmer of opportunity crossed her mind. She offered a weak smile, reached out to touch Austin's hand, and uttered, "Austin, please forgive me. I was wrong back then. I acted out of anger, and I genuinely apologize for my actions. Maybe we can start anew. You were in love with me." Austin looked into Eleanor's eyes, her humility evident, and with neither laughter nor mockery, he replied, "There's nothing to forgive, Eleanor. We were always strangers to each other, but because of our past, I've come to appreciate genuine happiness and discover the essence of genuine love." Eleanor found herself without the chance to respond as they had reached her residence. However, it was not the opulent mansion of her past, but a weathered high-rise building. "Goodbye, Eleanor," Austin uttered, shifting his gaze to the window, anticipating her departure. Eleanor hastily exited the car, her movements swift, and the car door slammed shut with a resounding echo. Several months down the road, Austin and Reagan embarked on their journey together as a married couple, eagerly anticipating the arrival of their first child.